Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy 7 from 7TCG, and I'm back at you yet again with another episode of Art of War. I know you guys have missed this. I've gotten a lot of comments, I've gotten Discord DMs saying that you guys like the episodes of Art of War, so I am back at it yet again. A couple of notes real quick. I have been gone a while. I've been grinding a couple events lately. Just most recently came back from Battlehard in Columbus. I believe I got top 20 there. I don't remember my exact placing. Wait, what the heck? Y'all hear that? Okay, let's just ignore that. But had an absolute blast. I got deck techs on the channel if you guys want to check those out for the two decks I played, which were Lexi and Bolton for that weekend. Today we have some analysis. We're talking about Dorinthia versus Lexi, and the reason why I actually was very interested in posting this gameplay is you guys have seen I do have some Lexi content on the channel, and I'm actually playing the Dorinthia side of this, and I get to have the unique perspective of playing against the Lexi because I generally know what the Lexi wants in a lot of situations against a lot of decks, and I now get my perspective flipped where I am now attacking the Lexi. I'm trying to prevent certain things from happening. I know what they want to do to me, and how can I stop them from doing that, or how can I adapt to that, and that's what we're going to look at here. I will give a disclaimer: my Dorinthia experience is not very high. I am not Josh Lau playing Dorinthia. I am just Isaac Christopher Stanley playing Dorinthia. So with all that again said, let's start the video. We will be taking play, and let's go ahead and get it started. So first from the name, I think attacking here is interesting. There are a few no blocks in Lexi, so I did somewhat know his list. So I think if he actually ended up having a no block, I could leak some damage through. So I did plan on at least attacking, or at least attacking once, just fish here, see if I can leak anything through. We do have a Warrior's Valor coming in, just going to pump this Dawnblade. Dawnblade's going to come in for 6, with the potential of having go again if it hits. We will see our opponent line up a block. I apologize, up for 4. I can't really tell 100% tell the dice. So we will be drawing the card off the reprise here. This is just to make sure I can continue a play. I have enough mana to swing Dawnblade again, but I wanted to be able to draw a card in case I had a pump effect in my hand. I would have the mana to do that. We will see Dawnblade coming in for a naked 3 here. Now, opponent could easily give us another card, but it looks like he is reading that I probably have a pump in hand. So he's going to line up, I believe that's 5, I can't remember. So we'll pump this up again. Opponent will be taking some damage here. Again, I do apologize that I don't have the exact numbers. I have the autoquad as high as it can be, but we do leak damage through. So, kind of again, talking about why we attack there. And I do want to kind of reiterate all that stuff. So, I know that my opponent is on a more heavy ice list than the average Lexi list. I know he's playing Insidious Chills, Amulets of Ice, and stuff. And some of the big cards in the Lexi list that don't have block: Amulet of Ice, Art of War, Rain Razors. If he has even just one of those cards, the max that he can block in his own turn hand is 9. And as Dorinthia, just my first attack swung 6. And if I could swing again, it's likely that I can swing for more than a total of 9, right? I did get fortunate here that my opponent did actually have the no block, which is the one thing I tried to exploit if he did had with this play, and it worked out pretty well. So that's the reason why. So we're gonna go to opponent's turn here. We do know he has Amulet of Ice, which is most likely what he will be starting off with. We do see the Channel Lake Frigid, so if he has a second ice card, which I do believe is a Winner's Bite, we should see that coming down. All right, so we do see the winner's bite pitched, activate Voltaire, leading off with a Bolton shot. So this presents a very unique opportunity point for me, right? So we have a Bolton shot with go again. This is only coming in for 3 because it's a blue. So the damage, not really there, not really threatening, I don't care. But the important thing we do gotta realize is, because this has go again and this now has reload, now this card actually does get scarier. Lexi can now save resources. So, for example, right, we don't know the hand. Let's just say, for example, he had a one cost arrow in his hand. Well, now he doesn't have to activate Voltaire, lose a resource, send it, use a resource, have none floating, and maybe can't attack with another thing. He now can easily put that in there, only use one swing it, maybe pop snaps, swing again. He can do some interesting things. Another thing he can do, that channel like Frigid that he has, he can hit with Bolton shot, load, reload the channel like Frigid, activate Lexi, flip it, give me a frostbite. Remember, he has 2 floating. Use the 2 floating, channel like Frigid. And now he can safely arsenal that last card, and that play is only possible if I allow him this bolt shot to hit. There are too many factors that will end negatively for me if I let this Bolton shot hit. As a Lexi player, I know this is the Bolton shots, endless arrows. You do not let hit if possible. So you will see me block here. This is a very easy block. It's just I'm choosing what card I am blocking. We do see, fortunately, he actually doesn't even have another arrow, which is nice, but obviously I wouldn't know that. Opponent breaks chain, plays channel, like Frigid, Arsenals, and Aim Device. Pretty easy. He does value getting the Frostbite, obviously. I don't see many issues. We got 4 card hand here. 3 in hand, 1 in the arsenal. We do like seeing this. You do see Channel Link Rigid making my math slightly harder with what I originally wanted to do. So now we're reassessing our play. I'm just going to pitch 2 red, swing with Dawnblade, get these out of the hands, try to find more cards. It is swinging for a base of 4, so if he doesn't want to hit, we will need to take 2 cards from him. Now, when I when I seen this, I was so ecstatic that he blocked with 3 cards. One of them being Insidious Chill, which is a big part of his plan, the way he has his current deck constructed, right? The reason why I'm so glad to do this is the Dorinthia game, right? He can block with 0 cards. Honestly, he could just take 4. I could pop like my boots, swing again, have fun with it. Or just take 4. And I'm super excited that I have all these cards to still block. I'm not getting myself any closer to decking out, which I don't really think deck out is a thing in this matchup, but it is just something worth noting. Anything that can resist that is good. And or we see here, we see him block with cards. Now if he blocks with 1 card, it's obviously 3. 1 leaks through. 2, he's a be got by a pump that gives me go again, and obviously gets me over the top. Him blocking with 3 cards means even through certain pumps I cannot get through. But again, look at the resources that was exchanged here. Now, like, if the Channel Frigid was here, this would have been even better. I pitched 2 cards, swung with a weapon. I got 3 cards out of his hand. I still have, a card in hand, card in arsenal. Now he has a Channel Link Frigid. 1 card in hand, 1 card in arsenal. This Channel Link Frigid physically cannot stay. And that is a major win for me. I cannot tell you how big of a win that is for me. Even though a lot of my hands can still play through Channel Link Frigid, just not having to deal with that, running certain math, is obviously amazing. So, I am very, very happy to see my opponent block with 3 cards. And that's just the pinch that Dorinthia puts you in sometimes. Sometimes you have to overblock, and Dorinthia just says, "Cool, thanks. I lose my counters. You just lost 3 cards in hand." Opponent's just gonna flip Amulet Device, give me a Frostbite, and play it. Arsenal card's fine. But yeah, I am so incredibly happy. I took no damage, and I got a single frostbite for my trouble. So now, we can play this turn pretty normally, again, because this list did have a higher density of blues and yellows. We do exchange a little bit of damage for that, but being able to play through some disruption, obviously what we'll take. We're going to start off with Downblade, I believe, paying through that. So this basically tells our opponent we have one, if not two, reactions in our hand, so you will need to play around some damage. Just saying three, obviously, would be pretty odd for our opponent to see. So again, he can read natural go again attack now, right? We will see it get pumped here, and now his go again. Oh, I actually don't know if you guys can hear the audio, but I said I misplayed here. Um, I was wanting to use things, so I was thinking about using Singing Steel Blade to get Twin Blade to do a lot of damage, but then I realized, okay, well, it doesn't have the replies, and another thing I noticed, that's just too many resources that I'm using for a turn he can just block out. Now, yes, would that give me tempo? But that is a card that can easily seal a game and give me tempo, and I don't think this current juncture is where that card is needed. We're just going to swing with Downblade again. This is going to be pumped by 2, coming in for 5. Now, still with a card in arsenal, card in hand. Opponent still does have to be wary of any pump effect, but opponent will just take it. Looks like he's at 25. Looks like 29, maybe. Can't really tell. So you see another ML Vice flipped. Now this is one of the things I don't like about this iteration of Lexi, and I am all for being proven wrong. But this thing is that I do think he's actually going for like a semi OTK, like Icelander style thing here. But the issue I just have is just having the no blocks in your hand, and this just being one of the actions you do on your turn. You're not really you're like this play is not really affecting my board whatsoever. A single frostbite's not really going to do anything, and he's not really putting out an impactful piece, in my opinion. I feel like a spot like this would be much better if this was like a coast snap or an Arctic incarceration or like or ice quake, if that's the card that he's flipping over, and then proceeding with his turn normally. I feel like that would be much more detrimental to me. This aiming device, yeah, for a future turn it will be a little bit painful, but as of right now, it's not really doing anything. No, we actually do see an ice cap coming from hand. I believe that's a boot Bolton shot. Main pitch, she's going one floating, so we can see at least 2 arrow attacks. I think that is very reasonable. Leads off with a Bolton shot, pretty obvious here, with the 2 cards being Bolton shot and Endless Arrow. I don't think there's any world where you want to block start with Endless Arrow, because if I just block that out, even if you give it a go again, you're going to lose that exchange in the long run because of what the cards are meant to do in the deck. Endless Arrow is one of your best cards in your whole entire deck list. And if I just go like, cool, I'll give you 3 cards, my turn might be awkward anyway because of the single Frostbite. I might have 4 reds or 3 reds, and I can't really do much. I think just the exchange of me giving you, hey, I'll give you 3 cards to block out your best card. You're not going to do much damage to me. Yeah, you can have an arsenal. Yeah, you might be able to hit me with a following one, but then if I have 1 card in hand and 2 frostbites, my turn's not doing much anyway. So then I can just give him the 4th card, soak up a lot of damage, wait for my power cards to where I can regain tempo. So I'm more than happy blocking this. We should see 2 or 3 card block here. That's my hand's just that good, but because we see the Bolton shot, we can definitely expect another attack. So again, stop and reload, make them use resources, even though it doesn't matter. Not letting your opponent get stuff for free. So this play is extremely loose here, and I do think this play, um, with all due respect to our opponent, I do think it shows a little bit of lacking in his Lexi knowledge here. So again, talking about Endless Arrow again, one of the best cards in the whole entire deck. being able to get this card back and constantly have this flow of arrows is super nice. So this is, I believe, coming in for. I actually believe he said he gave this go again. So immediately in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, he could try to break bracers if this does hit Swingwood again for a total of 8 damage or nine damage. I'm sorry, and give me multiple frostbites. But what my opponent's not really thinking about, right, is I have equipment and I can actually easily block this. I'm pretty sure he was only just thinking about the card in my hand, um, which I think is fine because obviously the card in my hand can only block 3, and because the list I don't believe any during the list are in D-Rex. I could be wrong in there. If I'm wrong, please let me know. But I have equipment. I have 2, 4, 5, 7. I have 7 blocking equipment. This is not getting through if I do not want it to get through. And again, as these are one of the power cards, I definitely think our opponent should have just put this in arsenal and won his day. He got a little bit greedy here, wanting to push a little bit of damage, but um, fortunately for him, with my Lexi experience, I knew kind of what to do in this situation. I knew not to let this endless arrow hit, so you will see me block with equipment. Don't pay attention to this first original block. I've been playing a lot of Bolton recently, and I rarely ever block with Courage. I do switch my block. Um, there was a side person pointing out where I actually was verbally talking about not blocking with it. Then he's like, "Why wouldn't you just block with it?" And I was like, "Oh god, yeah." I've literally have Bolton Brain right now. It's been one of the decks I actually am testing for nationals as a hedge against some of the aggro decks that are going to be in the meta. So a little bit of crossed wires there, but we do obviously make a more optimal block. The same amount of block is happening. Is just obviously a more optimal block when it comes to the certain equipment that we are playing. So I do have a yellow in hand, so I can still swing Dawnblade for 4. So we can at least do something. That's why I really glad we didn't keep a red. This is one reason I blocked with the cards I did. I did block with blue, but the other 2 cards were red, I believe. So we wanted to be able to still play the game through at least a single frostbite if that's all we were getting. Um, Fortunately, we didn't get to have a better turn. We do have the Rain Razor in our opponent's hand, which would have gave us a big opportunity to push damage because that was just one less block that he does not have. But again, we're fine with things right now. We have a pretty decent life lead on our opponent. I don't actually remember if our opponent has hit us yet. I do know that he was in the 20s when I first got hit. So, I don't remember if that's already happened yet, but oh no, no, I have not gotten hit yet. This is the turn I get hit. I kind of spoiler alert. Our opponent, um, yet again. Actually, I'll let it play and I'll talk about when it comes up. Activate Voltaire, put in Molten Shot. Again, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. I will pause this part. We have a pumped Molten Shot with no arsenal, so in no world, unless I just think my hand is just so much better than anything he could do, would I ever let this hit? And even still, I just think not giving Lexi free just resources. Again, one bad thing that could happen here, right, is he could have Bolton Shot. He could then like put in a lightning card or put in a ice card, flip it over, get an effect, do something else. Or maybe if he just wanted to get cards out of my hand first, this would be a little bit weird sequencing if he did, but hypothetically, right? He could have a 3 of a kind, play it. Um, no, that would be if he let off a 3 of a kind and then do another one and then Bolton Shot. So I guess that specific line doesn't really do anything. But again, just reiterating, there's a lot of nasty things that can happen if Bolton Shot hits. And I think if you have the ability to, you not ever let it hit. So you're going to see me lamp a 6 block here, which is fine. Our opponent is going to make a very crucial mistake in my eyes. And this is one of the things I had to learn with Lexi, is lining up your big power cards. So this Bolton Shot is now only pushing 2 damage, which is really good. Our opponent has 1 card left in hand. Our opponent has 1 card. outside of exactly Endless Arrow, which would now be 6, he would get the rest of the cards in my hand. So even still, like that's a good exchange for me. I'll take that every single day of the week. Actually, um, there's not many things that could go in the arsenal, and I care about now at this moment. So pushing an extra 4 damage this turn, I don't actually think does anything. And I definitely think this Rain Razors was much more suited to be in Arsenal for a bigger turn. So yeah, I'll take 2 damage. This will be the first damage to take. I'm at 38. Opponent's at 25. And he's just gonna shoot the pathing like this is again. No, this is fine. If this is the line of plays you're gonna make, I think this firing off the steering shot is fine. It's coming in for a total of 7 with the on hit. So I think if you're just gonna fire off the Rain Razors, even though I don't, you shouldn't, I guess go ahead and attack with that last card. It's fine. And this is the reason why we run more yellows and blues. We can block with cards in hand, still swing a Dawn Blade, and still threaten a pump. And we're gonna give it a go again. Opponent's gonna take 3. He's gonna be at 22. Right now, we are so happy right now. We are beyond happy. I do decide to push a little more damage through here. Saying how our opponent let the first one go through pretty easily. I highly doubt he'll now. If he didn't block 3, I highly doubt he'll block 4. That's 7 damage in the turn, but no actual one hit effects. Our opponent, with a decent enough hand, can bite back pretty heavily. Opponent is at 18. I believe I'm at 30. 31? 31 maybe? Like I said, I actually can't see my left totem. I'm just trying to do math in my head. When we see activation of Voltaire, we're going to see Chilling God's Fane loaded, giving it go again. He's going to shoot it, fusing it. He's going to maintain priority. Alright, so this play I'm not a fan of. I'm absolutely not a fan of. I get why he's doing it. But okay, let me talk specifically the reason I hate it. I don't hate that he's cracking Amulet's Device to push damage. I think cracking both of them immediately is wrong. Um, I think that even if you do plan on cracking both of them anyway, at least just cracking one and then seeing what your opponent does, right? If your opponent just chooses to discard a card, okay, do you crack the second one? I can see, yeah, still just stripping another card with their hand. If I pitch a blue, right, then discard a card and hit you, then you hit me. I have the floating resource to play for Chilling Ice Fang, and then you could possibly Warner's Bite me after that and strip my hand more, right? Yeah. But there is just so much information you don't know yet by cracking both of them. It's a very small thing in this specific instance. Um, I just think that things could be played a little more cleaner here. Um, like I said, there's a lot of scenarios where he probably still just cracks both. But so you'll see me here. We'll pitch a yellow to one of them, and then discard another one. So we have 5 go again. If it hits, do that. So the card that we actually discarded is a red, and we pitched a yellow. The reason why we didn't pitch again because um, I wanted to keep the most cards in my hand to be able to actually block. So that's the reason why we blocked and then pitched like we did. So opponent's going to swing another attack. So he is pushing damage here, which I think is okay. It is one moment that he can actually guarantee get some damage in. We've yet to actually see an explosive Lexi turn because our opponent hasn't opted to doing any true setup by getting like a 6-card hand or anything, and I'm extremely happy about this. The one card I'm not excited to see in my hand right now is the Energy Pot. Same thing for him when he draws certain cards. I don't like that I draw an Energy Pot. It pretty much means this card it does not exist in your hand on your opponent's turn. I like having the ability to block. Alright, leading off Siren Shot. This is fine. This is just a vanilla 5 damage that most likely won't get blocked by most people. So, and uses tuning for it. It's pretty efficient. I do choose to give him a card still and take 1 and 1. Um, I don't know my whole entire hand, but I guess looking at my hand, I didn't think that my turn was gonna be very impressive and strip multiple cards out of his hand. We will see a flake out. It will be coming in for 5 with an on hit that I cannot pitch or play cards with base cost of 0. And it would be slightly unfortunate if like everything in my hand would have cost 0. That would be slightly unlucky. But and everything in my hand did cost 0. So I did actually have to block this, in which I'm still fine blocking it because it's absorbing 5 damage. And I'm probably just gonna I don't remember if I play or pitch the pot here. Okay, I pitch the pot to swing with Dawn Blade. Okay. Playing pretty face up here. The only thing I could really do if this hits is break refractions, break arm piece, swing again. Which is, I mean, that's 7 damage turn by pitching 1 card. Like, that's neat. You pretty much, you can treat it as like a 1 for, 1 card for 7 damage, which I think on rate is pretty good. There's also a world where I could have played it, and then one upon my day. I just, the life total my opponent's at, I definitely think that I am inducing him to block because of I have a lot of I have dominates in my deck. I haven't played a single blade, single still blade, so I could always search one. Like when it comes to power pieces, there's not a lot that's been played. So I do understand why my opponent at least gives me a card here, to prevent from getting just like got randomly in the late game. Fortunately for my opponent, now he's playing with a 3-card hand, and one of them's a Channel Link Frigid. And if another one's a non-attack, oh, okay, that's a rain ray. That's just unfortunate. Yeah. Our opponent's hand was not great. I probably would have actually just kept the Pathing Helix, given the context of his hand. So his hand was Chilling Ice Vein, Rain Razors. What is this card? Is that? I believe that's an Ice Quake, right? So his hand was Chilling Ice Vein, Ice Quake, Rain Razors, Pathing Helix. So like, how would I have played this hand? Hmm. I guess it depends on the color of that Ice Quake. If that's a blue Ice Quake, I probably would play Channel in case. Okay, he obviously wouldn't know if I'm on D-Reacts. I mean, again, we can assume I'm not. But then it would make my D-React cost mana. Even if it's like an Oasis Respite. Right. We would have 1 floating, use 1 floating, activate Voltaire because we have nothing in our arsenal. We load Pathing Helix. Pathing Helix now actually has a relevant one-hit effect. And we would still have Rain Razors. Right, I'm just making sure everything I'm saying real quick actually lines up. So if it's a blue, Ice Quake, pitch, 1 floating, activate Voltaire, load, Pathing Helix, give it, go again, swing. I guess since I would start chilling Ice Fang, but obviously he wouldn't know if it's like a 0 or a 1 cost arrow. If it's like a 0 cost arrow, even though I wouldn't love Rain Razoring there, but like if I choose like not to block or something, he'll get in 6 damage, load something, throw another 6 damage. It's a 12 damage turn with Channel Lake, which is I think like fine. Doesn't give me a lot of relevant one hit effects. Preferably would just want to keep that Rain Razors though, and just maybe just swing the Pathing Helix and call it a day. But yeah, my opponent has a few options here, but I think if he actually kept the Pathing Helix, he would be in a little bit better spot to be able to do something more impactful this turn. Let's give this go again, I believe. We do see that it is a blue Ice Quake, which the play I took only really works if it's blue. You're gonna see me line up 6 block. Being able to stop this on actual taking damage and such a main card out is not something I'm a fan of. So just giving an extra card to stop all the damage, I think here is perfectly fine. So my opponent here says, I don't really agree with your plays. You should just block one card and keep boots. Which I think in a lot of scenarios like does make sense. The reason I personally chose not to is only because I know there are some Lexi lists going around that are playing dominated attacks. Like they're playing Cold Wave, or they're playing like Polar Blast, or I think there was a I know the person next to him plays, is it Flash Freeze or Ice Storm? It's like you have to pay two or the attack gets dominate or something like on every single attack, and just keeping as much equipment open I think is smart here. I don't really care to give him two cards. The other thing that this does is this allows me to draw more of my deck quicker. There's a lot of factors going on, right? And with the single false bright and the possibility of a channel lake, my turn's not going to be fantastic anyway. So again, don't mind giving the cards. I think it's perfectly fine. But I do see what my opponent is talking about and just rocking with fraction bracers. Just gonna break the chain. Play channel. Okay. Channel ice. So one important thing is we do know he has an ice quick and a rain stacked on top of each other for a future turn. Real quick, talking about the hard to find out. This is in this version of the deck, Heart I don't think is actually fantastic. Because of the way we're playing, because we are playing a little more defensive and mid-rangey, Heart doesn't actually do as much. Again, I think against opponent being a little more aggressive, able to push through damage, or if I was playing more aggressive, Heart would be a little bit better. But I was gonna swing Dawnblade for 3. Opponent's at 18. Um, Again, with one floating, one card in hand, there are some scenarios where a good card would push through a lot of damage. But realistically, unless it's like a 0 cost, that gives me go again, and then I can swing again. I don't think there's much to be scared of here. And he's already seen me block and use a few of them. I don't remember how many exactly the list plays. I apologize. But, one declares no blocks, and I'm at least debating, quote unquote. Um, I'll be completely honest. I believe I had like a 2 power, 2 cost like attack action. Might have been like an overpower or a route or something. Um, but obviously, when it comes to Flesh and Blood, one thing that a lot of people don't talk about is the psychology of Flesh and Blood. So like, I play a lot of Ice Center, right? And always, one of the best things you can do anytime your opponent does something or any action, just look at your arsenal, say thinking, right? This can now put in the mind of your opponent that I could have something. You're playing Dorinthia. Your opponent either covers no blocks or blocks. Thinking. This now this now puts your opponent into a mindset that maybe I need to I did not play around something, I might need to play around something in the future, or could he have something? Like anytime like Iceland has something in the arsenal, or like I said, Dori has any cards in hand on attack on the side. Those are like the two big decks that I do like doing that game plan with. It creates a scenario where now your opponent has to maybe uh, consider information that's not actually there. My opponent is thinking, oh, does he have he has one card in hand, one floating. This is when it's attacking. Could that be a 0 cost go again reaction? So now I can swing again. Maybe I block it so he can't swing it again. If it's a 1 power attack, do I care about taking extra damage? No. Who knows? That could just be an action. That could just be an action card that doesn't do anything. But my opponent's not going to know that. We don't play face up. So But obviously, with channeling frigid, the amount of possibilities do shrink a lot. Beautiful tunic sleeves, by the way. Shout out to Tunic. Opponent just in the tank here. I kind of try to fill some space. Opponent realistically has seen some power cards, not really used them properly. So there is a lot of things I am not really scared of. One thing my opponent did tell me after the game, which could be wrong now, he's not playing things like Art of War. So when it comes to the actual threats that I care about in his deck, they are less. He's already went through a 3 of a kind. He's played our invaders and pitched our invaders to the bottom of his deck, so he can have one in the next like 20 cards. So there's really not a lot of things I'm scared of. And then let me actually talk about this card choice, right? And again, I'm not gonna be proven wrong, and maybe I'm just thinking about this in the wrong context. So he's playing. So he has an Insidious Chill in his hand. This is a card, unlike Winter's Bite, which still takes a card in my hand. Um, Amulet of Ice, which on demand, whenever it might hurt the opponent the most, can take a card out of his hand, right? Um, and it's also a zero cost. This Insidious Chill a lot of times will do nothing. So the best ways you can do it is either it's the only thing you do, or you put it in your arsenal, flip it up, then play it. There's maybe like a few scenarios where you can play at the end of your chain after you do other stuff, but I don't like this card in Lexi at the current moment. And again, I'll be doing a lot of testing for our nationals, and Lexi might be a deck that I revisit, and maybe Insidious Chills will go on the list. But as of right now, I don't think a card that doesn't really do anything to gain tempo. Nah, that's not the right way to say it. God, how do I say this? Hmm. I think it just requires too many resources for what it's doing in this list. I think obviously Icelander uses it fantastically. But in Lexi where you're playing less blues and the way you actually really gain pressure is through arrows with on hit effects. Saying I'm going to take this turn off, pitch a blue play Insidious Chill, pass now. With that being said, if this now gives you access to like a 6 card hand, like by playing a card from Arsenal, have maybe some floating, playing into, I don't know, man. It's just I'm trying to create scenarios in my head where I like Insidious Chill. I can't reach it yet. If any Lexi players do watch this, I would love to talk about Insidious Chill specifically Insidious Chill. Anyone advice I can be sold on. Insidious Chill, I would like a conversation about it. And if you guys could convince me that it belongs in the deck, I would love to be proven wrong. I just don't think that there is a spot in the deck currently. It could also just be how I have my version of that configured. Um, I don't know. Alright, we're gonna see a Blizzard Bolt. Apologies for the glare. I can't really tell the power of that. Looks like yellow. Okay, so I heard the audio is Horgo again. So it is yellow. So we do have the on hit effect of getting a frostbite. One good thing I did see is I'm not really threatened by this Insidious Chill, and I kind of know what his next turn might be looking like. So this can inform my decision to block, not block, pretty heavily. So I choose not to block here. I think playing through one frostbite is fine. I did like my hand. Opponent has gotten a few hits in lately, so it is now 18 to 15. But again, I'm very calm here. I'm a person that's very calm. Um, I knew that I'm not actually under a lot of threat, again, because I knew how to navigate this matchup with everything that's been put in front of me so far. We will see a Bolton shot with on hit, reload, does have go again on hit frostbite. So the reason I actually block with Providence here is because I was fishing for another blue. I believe my hand was red yellow red or red yellow yellow. Um, and the card in Arsenal wasn't. God, I think it was like a zero cost go again with reprise. I forget what the card is, but it's like get target weapon go again, reprise draw card, I believe. But I just want another blue in my hand. But ooh, I actually choose to just take one of the red or yellows out of my hand and fish for one. I guess I can see that, just being able to actually draw a card on reprise when he's likely to block. Um, I guess is nice. Oh, okay, no, I guess I can see that. Alright, we're gonna sing Dawnblade. We have one floating, no frostbite, so the world is our oyster with 2 cards hand, 1 in arsenal. We're gonna see the third run through. We do like to see it. It's gonna be 3 damage, taking her up down to 12. We do have go again. Me looking at the card maybe wonders if I actually do not. Maybe if I was wrong about what the arsenal card is. I wonder. Coming in for 5. Because I was looking at an awful long time with that arsenal card. Thinking emoji. Alright, opponent goes down to 7, which is a very, very dangerous number. Because just a regular turn with just a blue. With literally only a blue in hand. I could block with 3 cards, only have a blue. Swing with non-blade. Break refraction bracers. Um, activate my arm piece. Swing with non-blade. That's 7 damage, so. One's going to give us a frostbite. The thing we would actually love for him to play is Insidious Chill and pass his turn. Unfortunately, he has the 17 of a kind, drawing 43 cards. We hate this. We hate all of it. Well, that's another Insidious Chill. That's Street Toughs. We're going to see a Blizzard Bolt put in the yard. Fuse. So we obviously knew with the 3 of a kind, he just have SLC spot he has fusing. But again, because he's at 7, and I know what's in my deck still, I'm very happy to just block out here until I find something that just says my opponent's dead, or I get their whole entire hand. So this should be a pretty easy block. Just obviously, what cards am I blocking with first, just in case on the off chance that I get keep cards. So this play is one of the reasons again that I chose to keep my equipment as long as I did. I got to block with 1 card and still block out the attack. In the later game, right? I think even though like maybe we're in the same scenario and I'm up a card at one point in the game, I think this very key moment of the game where leftovers are getting very very low and there's a lot of resources gone. I think having the equipment block is super freaking nice. All right, so we're gonna see another Blizzard Bolt. This time it will give me 2 frostbites. And we see it was a hypothermia endless arrow in his hand. Okay. Um, so probably what we're seeing is pitch hypothermia to Insidious Chill. Unless you give that +1, which is possible. I would still be able to block over either way, I guess. This is making me think it had go again. So he has an action point. Okay, no, so he gave it +1. Now he's giving it go again. And okay, we're gonna see the Insidious Shield finally on there. So okay, he tried to push a little extra damage with the Blizzard Bow and ended up not being able to do it. He lost another piece with the Snapdragon Chillers. I think in this exchange I easily won this exchange. Um, he's still really not gonna have a great turn, and he popped one of his big cards for nothing. And I'm still swinging with Dawnblade. Still swinging with Dawnblade. Still saying, hey, I'm gonna need you to do something. I have one floating. And there are certain hands that just kill him here. So I get Tunic and a card from his hand easily. These exchanges are so heavily in my favor right now. Even if life totals are close, this game is becoming like less and less close by the turn. And he has double three of a kind. I I literally cannot ask for any more. So I actually did have the pump here. So now my opponent goes down to two, no, four. Sorry. Okay, so I think this is one of the big turns of the game. So at the start of this turn, so you've actually heard me talk about the bracers and the boots play and the God, I forget what the boots are called. But you've heard me talk about this play a few times. So I only learned about this play literally this turn. It is not a play I was considering before. Um, so the so the big things to look at here, and I don't know whenever I play it. So the reaction I play gives my next attack +1. Well, I don't have any floating resources, right? So what this does, what I'm doing now, and I'll show you what I'm going to pre-show what I'm doing. So this is going to hit. I'm going to, in the resolution step, break my boots to give my attack go again. I don't have any floating, but that's fine. I'm going to break my chest piece so my next attack costs red less, so it costs 0. And you're going to see me swinging for 4, which again is lethal, so my opponent has to give me cards. And this is not something I've seen at the start of the turn, because when I played the attack action, I was like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. But I truthfully did not see it at the time. And that's what I'm talking about when I was like, wow, Dori's actually really cool. I didn't see this play when I first did it. So I'm swinging normally for 4, and his hand is just so bad. Like, his hand's so bad. I think probably his best bet is just swing with Channel Lake. We'll block with Channel Lake, maybe. I can block with Third. Actually, no, it makes sense. Blocking with Third, I guess that's fair. He's not likely to be able to fire off both at any point. So he's gonna play a Thuricon, so he's gonna try to at least get something out of his turn. That's very understandable. He's gonna activate Voltaire. He has one floating still. I can't tell if he has an ice card in his hand with that second card. Oh, no, it's an ice thing. If this is just damage, I would say we're gonna need to see a fuse for this to be relevant. Now, maybe actually take this damage. I actually don't exactly remember when everything happens. But me taking the damage is not very good for my opponent. This signals that I am going to bite back very hard. And I believe our opponent is just going to send a barrage of attacks to do that. So this makes sense, right? If I'm not blocking the first attack, it's not likely I block the second attack unless it has a relevant HUD effect. Again, like Molten Shot, which I guess in this current moment doesn't. And then maybe firing off Endless Arrow. He is guaranteed at least to leak some damage through. Or maybe all of it because I didn't block the first attack. But again, if I'm not blocking, and you're at 2, uh, you you could probably assume that a lot of damage is coming back your way. So he's coming in for Hammer for 4. Blocks with the endless arrow. Sends with the endless arrow, rather. Um, Looks like I am lining up a block here, actually. Okay. So I guess I'm just gonna wait until I guess I can guarantee him. I mean, he's at 2. I still think maybe there's a world where I just keep that, but I guess what I was looking at is I knew I still had a decent play where I could play Warrior's Valor, swing Dawnblade if it hits, swing again, but I knew it wasn't going to hit. Okay, yeah, I remember this now. Yeah, I know for a fact this isn't going to hit, but I know I could lose 2 cards out of his hand, which then sets up my next turn to be a little bit better, because he's not going to be able to put any pressure on me. You can see his Wonder's Bite, Hypothermia. He's just going to play Hypothermia. Like there's maybe there's a world I don't know where he plays Wonder's Bite then Hypothermia and just says screw having an arsenal. I don't remember. If I don't remember how good that is. But I do remember what this play is now, and unfortunately for our opponent, we do not need to go again. So we're gonna pump our attack by 3, pump by 1, give it dominate, and let's just I'm just gonna pull the audio. I'm just gonna put the audio in here.
Sharpen Steel. Iron Song. Iron Song. Jesus Christ. 3, 4, 5, 8. Dominate. Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom, bada boom. You heard my saying, oh Jesus. Yeah, that's 8 dominate. Um, Now, yeah, this was overkill. I just want to ensure that there was no way for him to block, because like he would have 2 block, 5. Yeah, obviously I think the first dominate was fine, but just all I wanted to do was ensure that he was not surviving this turn. So I was finally laying the cards out. But that's gonna be in the game. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna overview the game, talk about the game, and I do like to do a discussion with my opponent at the end of the game, and I'll let you guys listen to that. But talking about from my perspective, the goods and the bads from both sides, I think my opponent was able to shut my hand at multiple points. So I didn't. He was not under constant pressure, which is why I think the Lexi deck would fold pretty easily if I was just able to send constant pressure and get cards off his hand. So I think when he had a few opportunities to strip my hand, he did. Um, where the bad things was he missing wins his power plays. He was using his big cards just by himself and trying to have a good turn based off of that. He was blocking with certain amount of cards where if he blocks with one less or just not at all, his turn, no matter what, would have been much better. And this can be proven by math. Um, but obviously, the guy on the right did qualify for Nats. He did top 4A RTN. He will be playing Lexi at Nats. It's a recent pivot, unfortunately. So we will hopefully be getting a lot of games with him. Maybe some that'll be on the channel. We want to really make sure we fix some of these plays. I would then maybe end up the list a little bit. So when it comes to my side, I do think there were some hands where I incorrectly identified how much damage I could do compared to how much damage my opponent could do. But I think that I was aiming for a scenario like this where I'm still at a decently high life total. I'm under no pressure. That's the thing about this is if this matchup would have been I was at like 5 or 4 and all these things would happen. I think there's a lot of room where my opponent could play different. But because I was at like a healthy like double-digit life total, because of the way I played, I knew that a play like this is inevitable, and I have nothing to worry about. Um, Using life as a resource is very nice, but also preserving your life is also a huge thing, and that's what I aim to do here, and I think I did that pretty well. I think I blocked a lot of his important cards at very important times, and it really hurt him. Yeah, I just think my resource management was very good here. But I'll go ahead and throw it to us in the past, and we'll have the discussion.
Yeah.
Earth was actually cooler than I thought. That was actually really cool to play. I haven't actually gotten that many plays with Dorinthia.
Played that wrong, but that's okay.
Um, from I guess from my side, obviously I don't know what you personally think. You use a lot of your power cards, um, your power arrows, not on the same turn. And you also comboed like similar effects in the same turn. So like when you double Blizzard bolted me for 5, I was just like, I'm I'm usually just gonna block that. You didn't like stack like a Blizzard Bolt and a Chilling Ice Fang to give me a unique thing because my deck runs a lot of blues. Like the Frostbites in particular don't really do much. Like
I never had a turn after I played that Insidious Chill. I never had a turn to where I could fuse.
yeah, right. That was one thing. One thing that at least I tried to do was because Llama stuff blocks for 3. I tried to play kind of similar to Bolton, block with 2 cards pretty much every single turn, regardless if it's unless it's a just the super vanilla damage and just soak damage. Like I ended at 10, and I felt pretty comfortable with that the entire game when it came to my life total. And I was just waiting for like a turn like this, for example, where you just wouldn't be able to block.
Well, my thing was, I figured I could try to output more damage than you and not block because of your prize abilities, because that would just make things worse.
Right.
Obviously, that was not the right call.
It's super interesting. Like that's the one thing about Dorinthia I do like. It creates a slow mini game where it's like, do I have a reprise that matters? Or do I not? And it's just like sometimes you guess wrong, and it's unfortunate. Like it is fair, but it feels unfair a lot of times. Where it's like I have no choice but to block this. Well, now this reprise it gives a +3. The reprise gives a +1. It's just like well I still get hit now it has, and it has go again. The one play that I genuinely did not see at the time, which I think was pretty good, which got you to 2, was when giving this go again and breaking this. I didn't see that play when I first attacked, but then like when you didn't block, I looked, I was like, oh wait, hold on.
I kind of forgot about this.
Truth be told, I forgot to. Also, the one reason I didn't block with this early in the game is because playing on Lexi, I know like there's a lot of devastating on hit effects, like really unique numbers, and I wanted to keep as much of my equipment as possible for that. And also, I didn't know if you played any Polar Blast or any Dominate stuff.
I do.
So I just in case you did, because I didn't know your list, I wanted to preserve as much of my equipment as possible. I think that was still a very interesting game. Both sides still got to do a lot of stuff they wanted to do. It's just this at the end of the game was just overkill to the point where like you couldn't come back from that. If I don't get them dominate, this game's still definitely going on. Yeah. That was a very cool matchup. I've never got to be on this side of the Dorinthia playing that matchup. It's actually really fun.
I'm not sure how I feel about the Insidious Chills against you.
I've never really been a fan of setup cards like that inside of Lexi. The only setup cards, quote unquote, that I like are obviously the Art of War, 3 of a Kind, Rain Razors.
I don't play Art of War.
Yeah, I know there's some lists that don't. I feel that like at the very least 3 of a Kind and Razors is enough. I rarely like taking turns off outside, specifically Channel Lake Frigid, to say, all right, I'm gonna end my turn doing this, or this is something I'm
there's
doing.
a term I debated. So either way, you were blocking your hand or taking it. There was a turn I did 2 attacks, or I could have done Frostlog from East.
What's up? He's chewing still, unfortunately.
City's chill and ambulance how you end up getting your. You don't win it otherwise.
No, you don't. That's how I beat Dakota.
Basically can't win it.
Damn, unfortunate for that Odom guy. We're both Odoms, they got clapped. I do obviously see it, because it gives you like a semi, like shows down, he's not preventing any of this damage, and you're calming it with like a Rain Razors or something, and just outputting like 20 to 30 damage on turn. I still personally am just not a fan, but it could be a necessary evil in the meta that we're going into.
I think is a necessary evil to play. But there was like I said, there was a turn where I considered doing this. I couldn't pump it any further.
It was actually relevant. I almost didn't block it, and then I re-looked at my hand. I was like, all 3 of the cards are 0. I actually have to block it, or my turn just doesn't do anything. So no, I think Flake Out surprisingly was really good against my deck, and I didn't think it was originally.
Flake?
Not Flake Out,
Frostlog?
Frostlog. I don't know why I said Flake Out. Yeah, at the first time he swung it, I was just like, yeah, whatever. I was blocking anyway, but then I almost didn't block the second time, and I'm really glad I did. Because the amount of blues and yellows you were actually running, I was actually comfortably able to block with multiple cards in hand, pitch, swing with Dawn Blade, even through Frostbite, and still have a choice to attack reacts, which was really nice.
So I guess this match I just kind of pick and choose my battles. I think with Dom Blade.
I think that's the same thing I did. It's just like I didn't. Originally going into the match, I thought I was just going to swing at you every turn because you weren't going to block. But I was like, I'm pretty sure I lose that race, unless my hand just lines up perfectly. And I think it's kind of the same thing you have to do. Is just I don't like blocking Lexi, but there are times where you just have to. You have to preserve life total.
There was a turn where I just got complete ass, and there was also a turn where I got nothing but reds.
Yeah, that always sucks.
And so like the fact that you can just gain tempo from that compared to. I mean, the three of a kinds were nice, but I literally drew a three of a kind into a three of a kind and a what was it, Rain Raiders and then something else.
Yeah, outside unless you have a Bolton shot that you can.
That's why you gotta learn how to.
Yeah, I rarely ever play like one of the.
Cause like the problem that you're having is that you're not setting the count. You should always have an arrow in the arsenal, like an arrow in the can't do anything, and you should always prioritize like. You should always try to prioritize an arsenal, either Rain Razor or Purify your arsenal,
Yeah.
or Endless Arrow.
There was also
And
one.
you just don't fire off Endless Arrows, fire it off.
Yeah, that one turn where you attacked like twice and then fired off Endless Arrow, I was so happy to block that because Endless Arrow is one of if not the best arrow. I don't know if you'd agree.
It's the only reason that I have.
Um, Yeah, like that's an arrow. Even if it's just a vanilla 4 with no go again, I'm blocking that. That's just free real estate for you. So I'm always gonna. I don't care to give you 2 cards
When
if
you
it
play
means.
against Dakota and then you just fired off those 2 endless for no reason, you got 1 card out of it. You literally didn't get no gain out of it because you blocked them out.
Yeah, Endless Arrow is either should be a commenter when you know for a fact it will hit, or if you have multiple, you can kind of get loose. But even still, unless I know for a fact it's hitting or I need to guarantee get cards out of my opponent's hand, that's the only time flying off Endless Arrow is good.
Fair enough.
Fortunately for you, this match it won't be this week. Probably early next week if you ever do want to, because if you are 100% going to be playing Lexi and Nats, the gameplay will be up and for you to be able to look at and stuff.
Oh, I'm already gonna play it.
Well, I'm just for you to study some stuff. Because I guarantee, because I know when I was rewatching my matches the first week I played Lexi, I was just like, I noticed so much small shit that I wasn't doing, like to optimize a lot of my turns, and that's why when I played at the LCQ, like Lexi felt so nice, because like I wasn't doing like the dumb stuff I was doing. Like one thing I used to always do was just turn 1, just Snapdragon Skillers, whatever the fuck it is, just for tempo, and I was like, in some matchups like Dagger matchups where I can hit them for like 30 that turn, that's cool.
Bobby, you wanna see my
in most
sideboard
app matchups, if I just snap turn 1, game's over. I have no chance of winning, unless I can just guarantee that tempo.
Is it just like
So I'm thinking about taking that out.
Oh, dude, no, I fucking. What's your actual ratio of total code snaps? Mine is 2 red, 1 yellow, 3 blue. That's where I'm at with code snaps. I do 2 red. That's all.
I don't need to. I'm not
3
trying to
blue.
fuse anything.
Listen.
I personally think code snaps amazing. Like,
Because then
I don't think code snaps like one of the best cards in the deck. But like, if it's in your arsenal, you're gonna flip it up from Lexi, Game of Frostbite, and draw a card. That's already like super big on rate. You're gonna have 2 cards floating because you're probably
I
pitching
think
blue.
I'd rather have polar. I was arguing this.
Polar
against-
Blast?
the big thing is
I was arguing that with Peyton.
ready.
Like,
So
I feel like Polar Blast
Well,
is way
actually, I think I
better.
want to play 2 now.
Huh?
You said that card's ass.
I would
What I
rather
wanna
have
do is I wanna get
Polar Blast personally.
Yeah.
play this using 2.
So I think in this meta where there are a lot of people wanting to like put
So when
specific
you
stuff in their
when you
arsenal,
try to OTK
I
these,
think
my goal is to have
Cosnap gets a
8
lot of
cards.
mileage. Like think about Briar. Briar's just gonna set channel out in a row.
Normally not good against
Yeah. Oh, I'm not
Right.
going to play any cards.
Yeah, think about like playing against like a Lexi mirror, right?
8 cards that
Lexi's gonna pay for
So
it.
what I'm doing.
Bolton's gonna pay for it. Briar's gonna pay for it, and or
I
you
mean,
can
I
say,
might have to.
I'm gonna give you
I
4 card
can-
hand, and then if I'm doing O stuff on my turn, I'm gonna take more cards. It is such a good tempo swinger, especially if they do not pay for it. If they do not pay for it, you're playing against a bad player. I think you should generally. How do I explain this? And with most of the popular decks, the only cards you should really be arsenaling are power cards. Like Briar, realistically, the only card you should be keeping in arsenal is like Channel My Heroic, Force of Nature whenever you're going to fuse. A card if you really just want to channel Jarvis. And well, maybe not channel Jarvis specifically because they can get it out, but like interacting with arsenal is huge. And then that card does. Like you said, the only card the deck is not good against is Oldhim. Oldhim's just gonna be like, cool, crown seats, fuck you.
I mean, if they're sitting up, Ryder's sitting up.
Yeah, outside that card specifically.
Also,
And then game
I'm
9.
beginning to say fuck
And
this.
then
So,
I think I would rather right now in this meta. I realized that after we started, I think
Next
that
2 block. So Douglas took this out of his deck and is only on this. He said it's mostly there for the 2 block because Lexi, unlike a lot of heroes, you're not gonna block a new Rise, you're not gonna block a Tunic, you can't block a Racer, so this gives you something to block with. As well as like your big pop-off turns. If you activate Perch Grapplers, your opponent knows they're about to get fucked up. I like it. There are still specific turns where I dislike Snapdragon Scalers. I still think running both is correct.
I mean,
But
obviously,
I am growing, and I am liking Perch Grapplers the more I do play it though.
and I realized that all the games tonight, I would rather have this against Snapdragon because fuck Snapdragon.
Point is, I will be tormenting you every single time.
What against all?
You are gonna filter less.
Because you're trying to set
They're
up
not
one
attacking.
turn, that's not letting you kill, that's not letting you kill.
Well, that's how you get your OTK fast.
I played this against him in one. It saved me so much. It saved me 2 damage.
Damage.
During your turn,
That-
I will still
Like,
play
you
whatever
could have
card
killed, you could have killed,
Then I can pitch to winning.
Because
I
you
just got rid of
arsenal,
3 cards.
you arsenal,
This card,
zero,
the
and
card
then
that I
a card you're
arsenal
going to
card.
use. So then
I
you start
got
with the card
rid
you're
of
going to
2
use,
cards.
start your OTK off,
So
or
like
you
any
can play
given
this.
fours, right? Let's say you didn't do anything and I just like this.
So the good news is, right, you
It
still
lets you-
have,
It literally lets you attack
And then we can wait.
right,
without
Then when it
popping
comes
your
to my
razor.
turn, I
You
can
With rain razors, that's
for an
additional
F,
8 damage.
or I can
Yeah.
That
get one of the cards out of my hand.
right, you still have a week. I would continue just playing it. And I kind of agree with everything Peyton says, again, especially against a thing like Oldhim. That 8 damage a lot of times can make or break.
You can play cards out of my
That.
hand. But I'll do that 21 damage turn.
Like I said, when it comes back to the coast, like I said, I think coast should stay in the deck.
While also still.
Um,
I know I have them on the deck.
But it's like Polar Blast is. I think unless your only strategy is to go tall, and that's like I'm playing a better Azalea, I don't think Polar Blast belongs in the deck. That's just me personally.
I try to pitch that so that
Yeah,
it's
flash freeze.
combo turn.
I'll play 4 black, you might as well play flash freeze.
Yeah, and then also, and then you have
And Arsenal
Code Wave that just has natural dominate if you can pump it too. But like, I don't think that's really where you want to be with.
Like that's
Lexi.
also where this comes in.
You don't think I should play Cold Wave?
But you have to pitch cards.
No, I'm talking about if you're purely trying to go tall and get like really big on hit for like an Ice Quake plus like fucking I don't know, if you're giving them like 2 Frostbites plus you're hitting them for like 8 or something, that's cool.
Are you gonna give me? I can stop by your house like Tuesday.
You
get the cards.
And you'll keep it up for.
I mean, that's fine, but I won't be. Yeah, it's up in the
I mean, that's fine. I will make sure to stop by an evening Tuesday
Like,
and pick them up.